Hello everyone and welcome to our final video on solving equations, where today we'll be working with variables on both sides of our equations. So let's get started. Looking at this problem, the first thing that we want to do is to do what we know. And I know that looking at these parentheses, I'm going to distribute. So let's start by distributing 4 to x and 4 to 8. And that's going to give me 4x plus 32 minus 6 is equal to 18 plus x. Now something else I know I could do is that I could combine this 32 and that minus 6. So that's going to give me 4x plus 26 is equal to 18 plus x. So just to clarify, all I've done so far is subtract 32 minus 6. Now the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to move 26 to the other side. So we're going to move 26 to this side to combine it with 18. So we're going to subtract 26 on both sides so we could get all those like terms together. And that's going to cancel. We're left with 4x is equal to negative 8. And then I'm going to do plus x. And now here, this is the only new thing that we're learning today. Everything else that we've done so far has been covered in previous videos. But here, we have an x on our left side of the equal sign and an x on the right side. So what do? Well, the same way that we combine 26 and 18 so that they could be together, we're going to combine this x and this x so that they could be together. So I'm going to do minus x on both sides. And this x, remember that it's the same thing as saying 1x, okay? There's always that invisible 1. So I'm going to do 4 minus 1, which is just 3, and then I'm going to keep the x. So I am left with 3x is equal to negative 8. And then my last step is to just solve like normal. I'm going to divide both sides by 3 because 3 and x are multiplying, so I'm just going to divide to cancel it. And I get left with x is equal to negative 8 over 3. You could just leave it as a fraction, especially since it gives you such a long decimal if you were to simplify. So now take a moment and pause the video to try this problem out. Just keep going until you can, and then just unpause the video and let's work on it together. So the first thing that we're going to do is that we're going to distribute 2 over 3 to the x and 2 over 3 to negative 6, which gives us 2 over 3x minus, well, let's multiply 2 over 3 times 6. Remember that that 6 is always over 1. So 2 times 6 is 12, 3 times 1 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is equal to 4. Therefore, 2 over 3 times 6 is going to give us 4. Then we're going to write minus 2 is equal to 8 plus x. So now we have negative 4 minus 2 here. And we could combine these the same way that we did in the previous problem to give us negative 6. And we're just going to write 2 over 3x. We're going to keep everything else the same. Something else I know I could do is that I can move this 6 to the other side by simply adding it, by doing inverse operations. 2 over 3x is equal to 14 plus x. And now, this is probably the part that you got stuck in. You're probably thinking, well, how do I subtract 2 over 3 minus x? Well, there's two options, and we're going to work on them on this following page just so we could have a little bit more space. So we're going to work on it right here. So I have 2 over 3x is equal to 14 plus x. So now, there's two options. Option 1 is that we could simply turn this x into a fraction in order to do the least common denominator to combine the terms. Or we could turn the fraction into a whole number. So let's see. If we want to turn x, remember x has a 1 in front of it. And remember that if we want to turn 1 to have the common denominator of 3, we need to think of those common multiples. Well, this is 1 over 1. And if I want to turn 1 into 3, I would have to multiply by 3 on both sides. and I get 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 3 is 3. So I would have to rewrite this equation as 2 over 3x is equal to 14 plus 3 over 3x. And like that, I could actually subtract them. So I would subtract 3 over 3x on both sides, and I would get 2 over 3 minus 3 over 3. Since they have a common denominator, we always keep that denominator. And we're going to do 2 minus 3, and that is going to be negative 1. Therefore, we get left with negative 1 over 3x is equal to 14. And then from there, we would just keep solving like normal. We would multiply everything by negative 3 times negative 3, and that would give us x is equal to negative 42. But now let's try another way, where basically we could turn this 2 over 3 into a whole number by doing what we would do kind of like an inverse LCD. So we would just have, basically we're going to multiply everything by the denominator of our fraction, which is 3. So I'm going to multiply this entire equation by 3. And I'm going to distribute that 3 to every single term. So remember, 3 over 1 times 2 over 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 3 is 3. And that just gives us 2. So I'm just going to rewrite 3 times 2 over 3x as 2x. And that's going to equal to 14 times 3, which is 42, plus 3x. And from there, I could just solve like normal. I'll do minus 3x on this side, minus 3x. I get negative 1x is equal to 42. And I have to get rid of that negative 1. So I'm going to divide by negative 1 on both sides. 42 divided by negative 1. That negative is more powerful, so it's going to be negative 42. And like that, I get the same answer. So whichever method that you choose to use, it really is just up to you, and whatever you feel more comfortable and whatever you feel like whatever you understand better, honestly. I personally like just getting rid of the fraction. I think it's a lot easier to just work with whole numbers and you're less likely to make a mistake. The only key thing is that you need to make sure to distribute that 3, that least common denominator, to every single term, no matter what side it is. So if I'm going to multiply by 3, I need to make sure to multiply this, this, and this. That's the only way that this method would work. So yeah, that's it for today.